It's been a little while since I did any coverage of the LEGO games, and it's pretty much my fault. Combining my financial situation versus other games that have come out when LEGO games came out, I've missed a few. But let's get things back on track with a LEGO game I've actually been working on for over a month between other review games. Taking part in one of my favorite movie franchises, here is my review of the LEGO Harry Potter collection for the Nintendo Switch. The story of the LEGO Harry Potter collection is the same story as the 8 movies. From Sorcerer's Stone all the way to Deathly Hallows, the games go through all 8 movies, at least all of their major scenes. Though it is worth noting that this is an early LEGO game before they added voice acting to all of the story scenes. With that in mind, it's highly suggested that you already know the story before you play this game, because all of the jokes are kind of like body language and don't really go into explicit detail about what's actually going on. Now when it comes to gameplay, this is a collection of 2 puzzle-heavy platforming games. If you recall, there were 2 LEGO Harry Potter games. LEGO Harry Potter Years 1 through 4 that covered Sorcerer's Stone through Goblet of Fire, and LEGO Harry Potter Years 5 through 7 that covered Order of the Phoenix through Deathly Hallows. These are separately launchable here, so this is one piece of software, but 2 separate games. One thing I will note that is really nice is the fact that this is the first time we've had the home console quality LEGO Harry Potter games on a handheld. The PSP had the 2 games in this collection, but they were altered. They were made back when TT Games was starting to make their handheld versions smaller, levels missing, and more isometric than their console games. So this is technically the first time these games have been on a handheld with the true home console experience. Now when you get to progression, both of the games basically progress the same. You've got a pretty large hub world where you can run around and do side quests to unlock characters, but you also go through it to access new story levels. The nice thing here is that you basically have the same hub world between both games and across multiple movies, so you don't have all these different hubs when you go from one movie to another. Now when you go into a story level, it is very easy to see that LEGO Harry Potter is very light on combat and very heavy on puzzle elements, pretty much the reverse of most recent LEGO games. As you go through each level, you have to cycle through spells that you learn in other story levels to be able to interact with different objects to assemble pieces and basically solve that stage. There are some enemies thrown in here and there, but there isn't really that much combat outside of boss battles. The biggest problem I have with these games is the lack of direction. When you're out in the hub, you do have a ghost NPC leading you to the next story level, but once you get into that story level, there's really not a lot to clue you in on where you're supposed to go or what you're supposed to interact with. You have this big open room where you basically just wander around, cycle through spells, and destroy anything you can to eventually find what you're supposed to use to solve the puzzle. And of course, that thing you found sometimes isn't even related to the main objective of the stage and is instead part of a side thing that's meant for free play. Do know that this is a little bit easier and a little more straightforward in years 5 through 7, but there are still a lot of levels that are pretty confusing there as well. Now let's talk content and length. As with any other LEGO game, there are dozens of different playable characters you can unlock for free play in each of these games. The problem is that there are way too many characters that are the same character. To give an example, across both games there are almost 40 different versions of Harry Potter. I'm all for large casts of characters, but do we really need a different character for every single costume every character is worn? Do we really need 40 different versions of the same character? Now when it comes to length, we've got a lot here. This is 2 separate games that cover 8 movies. Each movie took me around 3 to 5 hours to clear, so we're talking a good 35 to 40 hours across all of it, not counting free play and not counting going around the hub and unlocking characters. Now let's get into presentation, which is going to be different between the 2 games. In years 1 through 4, the graphics look very smooth and very clear, both in docked and handheld mode, but in years 5 through 7 there's a significant blurring effect, and the performance is the same. Years 1 through 4 plays very smooth with its frame rate, whereas 5 through 7 has a lot of frame drops in certain levels. What I mostly get out of this is the fact that years 1 through 4 was optimized pretty well, but years 5 through 7 could probably use a little more work. And now let's touch on battery life, which isn't really that different from the other LEGO games. The LEGO Harry Potter collection has a battery range of 2 hours and 49 minutes on high settings, up to 3 hours and 50 minutes on low settings. About the same as the other LEGO games, but still not too bad. Now, in conclusion, the LEGO Harry Potter collection is a fun way for Potter fans to have console-level LEGO Harry Potter on the go. Now, on the downside, the game is a bit dated with its lack of directions, far too many reskins in its character roster, and some technical hiccups here and there. But still, it's a fun little collection with a ton of content. Reviews to Go rates the LEGO Harry Potter collection for the Nintendo Switch a 7 out of 10. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to leave them below or head to the website at reviewstogo.com.